What's up, everybody? Antics here. On a little bit of I'd call this a little bit of a stormy afternoon. I almost said night, we're not quite there yet. It's a little bit of a stormy afternoon. We got windstorms coming through. Monsoon's trying to hit. It smells like rain, but I don't think it's gonna rain. It's gonna blow a bunch of dust. And actually, I want to go back to the freeway because I don't know if someone dropped a bunch of cash over the freeway. I couldn't tell. It was going too fast. Today I want to talk about why some of those track-only bikes or R-rated bikes probably aren't worth it. Mostly comes down to practicality and maintenance. Practicality. They're all above 200 plus horsepower, which is dope. Can't really use any of it on the street, and they're all definitely geared for racing. So first gear gets you, I think, gets you a felony charge if you take it all the way out. And you can't really use them in any race series. And you really need to know what you're doing on track not to crash them. And granted, they'll probably survive, but there are probably one-off fairings that you gotta replace. So rather than, you know, spending all that money on a limited edition bike that you're kind of scared to ride on track, ride full force, you know, why don't you spend the money on, you know, going to Spain or like Thailand and spending a week doing one of their motorcycle courses, or you could do it here. Spend a full week, you know, learning to be, you know, crazy good rider. And then go get yourself some throwaway bikes. You're gonna, if you want to test the limits, you're gonna crash most likely. No one wants to, but if you're always at the edge, it's gonna get you. Granted, I think Kay was going over this, but like the actual cost, getting all the parts, the really nice stuff to make one of those bikes. Granted, yeah, I guess you are close spending the, you know, the same amount of money, but I'm looking at some of these professional riders on like 120 horsepower bikes, and they could do laps around you. If you're on a 200 horsepower bike, you don't even know what you're doing. If you guys seen, actually, Josh Aaron actually been releasing some videos on YouTube about some of like his more recent stuff, like his more recent riding style. That dude gets low. Like that dude is so low on the ground in the turns that the body panels are scraping. Not even foot pegs, body panels. And then I watch people like Max Risk, who are just like, I mean, they're not slow by any means. They're definitely up there. And then you see someone like Josh Aaron come in and you're like, damn. And even seeing him on a 500 to see what, like, dude, he can smoke almost everybody on a 500. That was wild. on to the other thing was maintenance. On all those crazy race bikes like the V4R, BMW RR, what else is there? Probably most likely Kawasaki RR, like the 10RR. They all require full teardowns after a certain amount of hours rather than half miles. And there's a possibility of you replacing the whole head, or doing a ton of machine work on the head. Or just, you know, kind of have to just go through and replace everything like you would on a normal race bike. You know, a lot of stuff gets worked through, cleaned, and probably replaced. Before it gets back on track, like the professional Yamaha teams over in AMA. He's taking out that clutch after every race. At least not him, the racer, the team. They're taking out the clutch every race and actually have measurements for what's a good clutch, what's not good clutch, and we'll change out the discs depending upon what's going on that day and what the rider's feeling and what they want to do. And that stuff gets expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if like you trying to rebuild that BMW RR motor is going to cost you $10,000. It's a whole nother motorcycle right there. And quite honestly, those bikes really do belong on a track. They're not very fun on the street. I guess I mean they can be, but I would argue that if that bike was in a naked configuration, you would all much like it better. Granted, not the looks. A lot of people do not like the looks of a naked bike, but every single person that gets on one's like, damn, this is so much nicer. This is so much more comfortable. Oh, I'm going way too fast around here. So, Bobby. Maybe I think IMK has an Externa. I think it's like $80,000 to $100,000. So you have like the amount of motorcycles you can have for that kind of money. The amount of track days you can do for that kind of money. The cars, the things you can do. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. If you're trying to chase a championship, it will. You know, it is worth it, but just ride it on the street? No. Clout chasing and no one cares. Well, to be fair, a million people do kind of care, but I say majority of people don't care. As you can see, everyone here just having a good time, coming out the river, maybe gonna go join the river. Cause this may not look like it, but it it's 102 to 105 still. It's getting colder as, you know, the sun goes down, but it's spicy. It's so spicy. My dream bikes I've had to say. very much like a comfort person now. Like I love riding. Like I want to be on a bike as long as humanly possible. So probably an M1000R with a carbon package. Even though it is another naked bike, it is it's so nice. It is one of those weekend bikes that I would want to have. I would have that over a... Actually, would I have that over a ZH2? Yeah. Just the way it handles is much better. Oh, actually, I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot cheaper on the H2. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper to, like, to buy outright. There's also... Ooh, I guess I got... So I guess I want the... Yeah. So I want the M1000R, ZH2, and I do want a touring bike. One that can fit on. So probably a multi-strada V2 or like a Suzuki S1000 GT or the GX S1000 GT Plus. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Anything else? Busa. I would love a Busa. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. Maybe I'll do something a little bit more tonight, but I'm actually going to have to go double check that spot where I thought I saw a bunch of cash in the grid. I don't think it's cash, but if it is, I'll let you know. But thank you all for checking out my channel and hanging out. I appreciate all of you, and I shall see you all next time. Bye.